We got a bunch of people coming in right now, so we're gonna hang on for just a second and let more of the folks get signed in, and then we'll actually start things off a little bit. I'm Kate. I work here at Glazer's. I run all the events. This is Devin. Devin does everything. Primarily, he works in lighting, and he knows just a couple things about lighting. So, you know, bear with him. He's never done this before. He's never taught anything before. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So I've actually known Devin for a long time. So we get to have this banter where we make fun of each other. It's a lot of fun. So anyhow, let us know. Can you hear us okay? See us okay?
Awesome.
Yeah, thumbs up.
I got somebody in the glaciers.
Put that one in. So the goal for us for today is to show off a few different lighting techniques, some of which are going to be super dramatic. As a matter of fact, we're going to kick off with super dramatic lighting. And then we're going to show you just a variety of options that what you can do with one light, and then you can slowly build in and add more lights. By the end, we'll end up with a 3-light plus an extra light, technically a 4-light set.
4-source.
4-source. What are you doing over there?
My job.
Lighting setup. So if you want to ask questions, please feel free to ask questions during the session. You can do that with your voices and your mics if you like. You can also ask in the chat room. Since it's just me and Devin running this, things that are coming in the chat room might take us a little bit longer to get to, simply because one of us is going to be modeling and one of us is going to be setting up the lights and shooting. The goals for today will be, like I said, to show you a variety of different lighting setups, give you some essentials. We are working with only continuous lights. The joy of continuous light is that you can see what you're doing and what you're getting before you take a photo. So that's really awesome. We're also going to be shooting with a mirrorless camera, which gives us a live preview so we can see what the image will look like before we pull the trigger, or the shutter, rather. We're also going to shoot tethered. So as we're taking photos, we're going to flip and share our screen so that you can see kind of a full screen of the final image. This will give you an opportunity to see the lighting setup, where things are at, as well the final look we've achieved. I have put together a gear list of the gear that we are using today, and we also have a couple of promos available that kind of tie into some of those things.
Promos!
So this means there's a little bit of a discount available on some of the products that we'll be using today, which every little bit helps right now. And we're going to be using some non-traditional lights for some of these things. We're going to be using a couple of small LED lights. We're going to show off a couple of things that give you bicolor light and RGB or colored options. So anyhow, so it's going to be a lot of fun. How are we at admissions?
31 so far.
31? Okay. What time is it?
1:04.
1:04.
More people.
Before we get started, I just want to take a moment to let you know how Glazer's is operating right now. The store is open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 for curbside pickup, and 24/7 for online orders. So if there's items that you've kind of been thinking about getting, or you need to restock film or any of those kinds of things, feel free to go to our website, place an order online. If you want to have it shipped, you can do that if an order is $50 or more. There are a couple of restrictions on that though. Free shipping for orders $50 or more, sorry. Again, there's some restrictions. You can also call the store if you have questions about things. We're here for you during this time. You know, we started doing these live broadcasts so that we could still be in front of the community. You know, the store has been doing a ton of events over the past few years, and that's one of the ways that we can kind of stay connected with you. So during this time, we thought, let's take it virtual like everybody else has. And so we're continuing to do more programming. So we're trying to have 2 or 3 of these a week. I'm working on programming for May. So we have a little bit left in April. So anyhow, check out our website, glazerscamera.com/workshops for the list of everything that's confirmed, and look for more programming as we get into this. So where are we at? What time is it? It's like 1:05, 1:06?
Yep, 1:06.
Okay. So we kind of have a lot to go through, so we're going to get started. The first shot you're going to see, we're going to talk about split lighting first. We're gonna do 2 different lights with one that's gonna have a modifier on it. And Devin is gonna talk about that light first. And then we're gonna switch to a different light.
Hi, everybody. I'm Devin, and I work here at Glazer's Camera. So let's dim this one so you get a better idea of what the true light that we're going to be shooting with is going to be, but you can still get an idea of what the lights are around here. This is an incredibly bright light that we're using to fill the room, so we're bringing it way down. So there we go. So this is the Aputure 120D Mark II, which is a pretty powerful, large diode continuous light. And what's nice about a lot of the Aputure lights is that they come with a remote, so I can easily just bump it up and down from afar, so I don't have to like run behind it or go to the control panel. But so yeah, this is going to be our strip bank, which we're going to use for split lighting. And this is the Phottix Raja strip, which is like a 1x5 foot or 1x4.5 foot roundabout, a 12 by 55 inch. They do it in centimeters, so because they're fun like that, 30 by 140 centimeters. Yeah, and we have the grid on here to limit the spill onto the background. So when we take a shot, it's going to be predominantly just the light falling on me.
So, and let's just bring this up for just a second.
Yeah.
So the thing that we want to talk about first is split lighting in general and why you might consider split lighting for lighting a portrait. A lot of times I like split lighting because it's a little bit more dramatic. I've used this with actors and writers. It just creates a little bit more of an interesting and, like I said, dramatic portrait. And split lighting is basically where your subject is just lit from one side. So if we lower that light, I'm going to share my screen real quick and take a photo, and you guys will be able to see what it looks like when we take a photo. So there's the last test shot. And I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see that. So here what you see is that, is that what we just got?
Better bring it down.
Let's bring this one down a little bit.
All right.
So it wasn't quite dramatic enough for me because the light that we're using so you can see us was still on a little bit. So we're gonna dial that down a little bit. And this is truly split. So we can literally only see one of his eyes. So we're gonna get that. And he's very happy, as you can see. Now, I like to play with this just a little bit.
It's more sinister if I smile, really.
It probably is. I want you to bring your nose this way just a little bit more, chin up, a little bit more, a little bit more. So what I'm trying to do is get just a slight little bit of light in his left eye, right eye, up a little bit more. So we're getting just a tiny little bit of light in his right eye, but obviously this is mostly on his left eye. The next thing we could do, if we want it to be slightly less dramatic, is just bring the light over a little bit. So we can still have something dramatic, but we can still get a little bit of that split effect.
Again, it's nice with the grid because then you're getting the same quality of the light, but you're controlling where it's falling.
And that's also how we can, like you said earlier, make there be less light on the background.
Admit more people. Sorry.
Sorry, we're multitasking here, guys. We're letting people in while we're talking. So
we're a skeleton crew here at
we're
Glazers at the moment.
So just bring just a little bit more. So this is actually, come this way a little bit. This actually transitions kind of into Rembrandt lighting when you think about it.
Rembrandt lighting, named after the Dutch painter.
But if you look at these photos, so this was the previous one. Oops, hang on. Give me my capture one back. So that was, here's where we started. I'm going to go back to full screen so you can really see it. So there's the first frame. Next, and next. Do you see how moving the light put a lot more light onto his face and also started to light the background up? Because of the position of light, that's really where that shift was directed. Does that make sense for everybody?
Went from a 90-degree to like a 60-degree off of camera axes.
Can they use these on Calumet lights?
So this particular modifier is a Bowens mount or an S mount for the not branded version. S mount is pretty much the most universal speed light, or not speed light, but strobe light modifier mount out there. So these come with the S mount, but you can also get the Phottix adapter so that it works on ProPhoto as well. So, and technically Pulse Buff, but we don't sell those.
Yeah, we don't sell those. And then a couple of you guys, actually several of you guys are showing or asking about why the ISO is so high. Well, part of that is because we are using continuous light. And I'm going to show you a different light in just a second that doesn't have as much light output as this does. So that means I'm pushing my ISO up a little bit. 800 is fine, 1600, 3200 on the camera that I'm using is great. And yes, this is an X-T2 with a 35mm 1.4 lens. So unfortunately, I don't have the newest Fuji camera yet.
Shout out to participants in the chat room that are answering questions for us.
Thank you for that. We appreciate that. So real quick, I'm gonna shift to a different kind of light. So we're gonna, let's turn this one, we'll bring that up.
Well.
And then we can turn this one off.
We bring up this light and then it's a completely different area. Just to confuse people.
So the next light, can you guys see this? Okay, I'm gonna bring this closer to the camera. Whee! Watch out, watch out. So this is an Icelight. This is a different kind of continuous light. It looks like a lightsaber, yes, that's okay. But what's nice about this light is it's very small and portable, has a rechargeable battery, and gives you some flexibility to do some really cool effects.
Sorry, could you switch over to live view so we can see it a little better? We can just see the thumbnail. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's screen sharing. Yeah.
You can also change from gallery view to speaker view on the second window for the people watching.
Okay, we'll figure that out in a second. So somebody was asking about triggering. Because we're using continuous lights, there's no triggering. So we don't have to use any kind of like remote to fire the lights because the lights are just constantly on. That's a joy of continuous light. If you're asking about this cable, this is a tethering cable so that the files from my camera go into the computer so that we can show you what we're getting as we're shooting. So here's the Icelight, super quick, super portable. I have it attached to the stand so that I can also do a split light portrait of Devin. Because what's nice about this is that I can use this in a lot of different ways. Go ahead and dim that main light a little bit. Now with this, because we don't have the barn doors on it right now, it's actually spilling light onto the background. But what we can do is we can shift the angle of that light so there's less light. And we can feather the light. Devin's getting technical on me over here.
I'm technical, she's conceptual. We work out.
But yes, so that's feathering the light. So I'm gonna share my screen again so you guys can see a shot here. And I'm probably not gonna get it on the first one we're gonna see because I've just changed the light source. So I'm gonna have to change my camera settings super quick. Okay, so there we go. Go ahead and do the laugh this time. Do a sinister smile. There we go. Okay.
I don't want people to think I'm crazy.
So like I was saying, because this doesn't have the same kind of modifier. It doesn't have the strip bank on it. It's throwing some light onto the background. I can shift it more towards the background and get even more light on the background. But we still have some split light on his face. Another option is I can take this off the light stand as we talk about other kinds of ways to light people. And I could play around with the angle of light and even do Rembrandt lighting and things like that with it. So I'm going to show you guys that again. Hello, Devin. I just zoomed way in on you. So you can see here, go ahead and dim that main light again, Devin. So again, the Aputure lights are cool because they have these remotes. So I can play around with the angle of light. I can also shoot from above, from the side. So if you have an assistant or something like that with you, you can very quickly do different things.
Or if you just have long arms.
Yeah, it could be the ultimate selfie light. There's that. Okay, so who's got a couple of questions before we shift to a different kind of light? So I think I already answered that question.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
Yeah, no triggers.
No triggers.
Continuous for your convenience.
Well, I mean, the joy too is that you can see exactly where the light is falling, and you can also make it brighter or darker depending on what you're going for. That's the joy of continuous light.
Yep.
Obviously, you can do that with studio strobes, but then you'll want to use a modeling light potentially, or also have a trigger and that kind of thing. The Icelight only comes in this one size. It does come, you can get barn doors for it. And the barn doors would help control the spill on the background. And one of the promos is that if you buy an Icelight, you do get a set of barn doors for free with the promo code. So we're going to send that out. This is a Savage red background. What color? Which red?
Oh, this is primary red.
This is primary red. So this is the Savage 9-foot roll. So we have lots of room to wiggle with. Yeah. As they say.
This is our primary Glazer's live background, so it has a contractual obligation to be in the background of every one of our Glazer's live setups.
So we're going to shift into a couple of other light setups
that aren't as strippy.
That are a little less dramatic, but very, very good to have in your lighting arsenal. Does anybody have any other questions? So basically what we're doing right now is we took the strip bank off, and we're adding the 65 centimeter modifier from Phottix, which kind of acts like a beauty dish. But you can use this a lot of different ways. This is something that I would use for headshots, beauty portraits, a lot of different things.
Do I want to take the diffuser off, actually? Because then it'll be more like a true beauty dish.
We could.
I could always put it back on.
Okay.
I just like to make a lot of annoying noise right into my microphone.
So annoying. Okay.
There we are. Not using the remote for some reason. There we are. Whoa.
Although, yeah, that's really bright. Should we put it back on for the Rembrandt stuff? So the next one we're going to play around with is Rembrandt lighting. We kind of already showed you that once just by pulling that the strip box over and feathering the light a little bit. We got some of that light across the right side of his face. So that gave us the triangle that we look for in Rembrandt lighting. We're going to show you that a little bit more with just a different modifier and then a completely different light, just to give you some different options and different price points depending on what your goals are.
Not to product plug too much, but one cool thing about the Phottix Rajas is that they come with the diffusion and the grid and the mount speed ring all together. And they're foldable so that they can fold down to a little bag really quickly. Let me just show this product real quick. I promise I won't plug too much. I just really think these things are cool. So it's like an umbrella style, where on the inside there is a release that you then pull that and it collapses into itself, like so. Interfit also has, we have a few options by Interfit.
And Westcott, right?
Yeah.
Some Westcott stuff? Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Rapid Box, of course.
The Rapid Box. Yeah.
Collapsible softboxes are a freaking godsend, I tell you, especially if you're a location shooter. All right, so.
So now we are going to play around a little bit with Rembrandt. We're going to show you two different options. This light is the Aputure 120D2, so it's the same light we use with the strip box. We just put this different kind of modifier on it, which can very quickly and easily act as a beauty dish, but also just as a great modifier for a headshot. So as you can see, I also raised it. I'm going to raise it a little bit more because Devin's a little bit taller. And I'm also going to play around with the angle of the light just a little bit. I say as I'm a short person. Just going to bring that down just a little bit.
Let me know if you require assistance.
What now?
Let me know if you require any assistance.
Oh, just shush. Okay, so let's bring that light down. So can you guys see that there? So I'm at roughly a 45-degree angle. I don't like talking about different angles. For me, I move the light around until I get to what I like, okay? The more, as you can see in the background, the more I pull it to the side, we're back to that potential split lighting. But because this modifier is a little bit larger, it's throwing more light onto the other side of his face, okay?
You can control the spill more with a grid, which is included. But for this, we're just really going for a nice big circle.
Yeah. And then as you can see, as I shift it, the background shifts as far as the light that's on the background. So when I come from this angle, I'm just playing around with it. Now, I've also got a brighter light source. So obviously I'm going to play around with my camera's exposure. Maybe.
Oh,
there we go.
hopefully.
I'm going to bring it down just a little bit. And look this way just a little bit. Chin down, chin out. Okay. And I'm going to share my screen again so you guys can see that shot and capture one. That's zoomed way in. Close your eyes.
There we go. Definitely good beard detail. That's the most important part.
So just so you guys see that, like here's the previous shot with the strip box, right? Or with the Icelight actually. And so we're getting a little bit, actually a lot of that triangle for the Rembrandt lighting. So as I pull this back and just play around with the position a little bit, I can affect how much of that falls onto the other side of his face. What's nice about this too is that you get a nice richer red background because some of that light is falling onto the background now.
So Rembrandt, when the shadow of the nose is not touching the shadow of the cheek, then it is considered a loop lighting scenario. That's the fourth one. A third, technically.
So I'm just playing around with my camera settings just to show you by changing my shutter speed a little bit. Obviously, I can affect the light. Yes, I can change the light, but I can also just quickly change the setting on the camera. So either way, it's super easy. Since the Aputure lights have that little remote, it's even easier. So there's that so far. And then what I thought would be fun is to show you guys something completely different. And then Devin's gonna photograph me, watch out. Go ahead and bring that up for just a little bit. So I'm gonna just take this off here this way. Okay. Not sure where we're at on time, so I'm gonna stop talking soon. The next thing I wanted to kind of show was this awesome little teeny tiny portable light. So can you stop screen sharing over there? Yeah. So this is an Aputure MC light. We've been carrying these for a couple of months now. It's $90 or $92 or something like that.
Crazy popular.
Crazy popular. We're pretty low on stock right now, but we have more on the way. So if you decide you want to get one of these, just call and put your name on the list for when we get more in. What's really awesome about this is that it's bicolor, but it's also RGB. So that means if I want blue light, I can have blue light, or any other color in the rainbow, up to 255 colors. What I thought would be fun real quick is to just show you guys getting room bright lighting with just a totally different kind of light. Something small, something portable that you can carry in your pocket, basically. It is magnetic, so that means you could throw it onto a wall or a fence or something like that.
A fence.
A fence. You never know. You might want a fence. Okay. So Devin, you want to come and sit here? Do we have questions?
Oh, you just have Dan Cooney being
Is he being snarky in the chat room?
He's always snarky. He's snarky everywhere he goes.
Yeah. Oh, Aputure MC. So, hey everybody. Just a reminder, I put a gear list together highlighting all the different pieces and parts that we're using today, and I'm going to email that to everybody who registered. So you'll get that email probably later today. So with this, so we're going to kill that overhead light. We're waiting for somebody to fall and drop this. But look at,
It's sturdy.
it's sturdy. But
I
if
guess
you
we
can
show
see
it on
that,
that. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, can you see? I can bring this around, boom, I got my Rembrandt lighting. I got a little bit of light throwing onto the background. Now, because it's a smaller light source, it does not output the same amount of light that that bigger light did. That bigger light costs more money and it's got more lumens. So that means I need to play around with my settings just a little bit more, which my camera did for me. Yay, aperture priority. And let's see what that looks like. That's what we got. So I'm going to just share that shot real quick so you guys can see what we got. So I actually like the effect of the background because I love a nice deep red. The shadow behind him is a little bit much for me, so I might play around with the placement of the light to help either make that shadow more pronounced or to get rid of it completely. Now, as I do that, I'm also losing a little bit of light on his face, but you can see how easy and different it is. I could also just hold this light with my hands. So I just wanted to show like an alternative option if you want something small, quick, and easy on the go. So we're gonna shift into butterfly lighting next.
No butterflies will be harmed in the making of this.
No butterflies will be harmed in the making of this next light. So, all right, who's got questions?
Oh, yeah. All right.
Can I take photo A with this light at the former light settings for comparison of power output? Well, the two lights have significantly different power outputs. What is the power output on this guy?
That's only at 50 right now.
But what's the, how many lumens? I didn't want to get into numbers too much.
This one's like 7,000. That one's more. Our overhead light is like 11,000 lumen at full power.
No, but this one is 7,000 and the MC is what, 1,000?
Roundabout.
Yeah. So the light that we're going to use for, like in this beauty dish here, is 7 times more powerful. The cool thing about that is it does give you a broader spectrum of possibilities when it comes to lighting your subject. But it also means you have to spend a little bit more money and also have bigger gear. So now it's my turn to be photographed.
You should be excited. This is an honor.
This is an honor. Devin's never photographed me before. I always photograph him.
That's true.
We got somebody hovering. So
Who's hovering?
someone's trying to sign in right now.
Oh, you gotta let him in. Open the floodgates. There we go. All right, cool. So the reason it's called butterfly lighting is because the shadow that is produced underneath the nose when Kate lowers her chin just a little bit, there we are, as the shape of a butterfly. It's more noticeable with a harder light source. But with the beauty dish, with the diffusion, we are getting a very, very soft shadow, which is nice.
And that's also better for photographing a woman over a guy. Softer light is traditionally better. It's more complementary to our skin.
There we go.
Okay. Do you know how to use that?
What, the tripod or the camera? Either way, no. All right. And 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Let's just bring this down a little bit.
Just kidding. I might have it on T.
3, 2, 1. All right, let's share screen here.
So what's also nice about this angle of light is that it's even giving me, whose face is a little bit more round than it should be, especially since we've all been in quarantine, it's even giving me some cheekbone structure. So when you have that light at that kind of angle from above and coming down, it's a great way to help bring out great jawbone structure and chin, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so depending on the angle of the light that you have going on, you can have an even harder or more angled butterfly shadow. And of course, with it being so close to the background, you're gonna get quite a bit of spill onto the background. But that's fine because, you know, the red background, pink hair, wonderful. All right, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Did we even get a smile that time? We did get a smile that time.
I smirked a little bit.
Wow.
So if you look at that, you see how this image looks a little bit moodier. Now we're gonna dress it up even more by giving you a second light source with a reflector. So the joy of this is that, especially for like a beauty portrait, I do this a lot with headshots as well. This is gonna fill in some of the shadows under the chin and the eyes. And if you want, I'll even take my glasses off just to kind of help show that a little bit better.
All right, and right
Tell me where to.
there. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, so with the reflector, we're using the silver side of the reflector. You're really filling in the shadows underneath that are being created by this light, but without overpowering too much. You could use the white side if you want less of the light efficiency, the reflectance coming up. Sorry, I get a little technical when it comes to that, but
what's also nice is I tend to use the white side first for softer reflected light. I use the silver when I want it to be a little bit more dramatic looking. What you'll also notice is this is daylight balanced and this is picking that up. So the light overall is a little bit cool. So here we could play around with white balance and kind of warm the skin tones up a little bit. That you can do in camera or in post-production.
So what I'm doing here is I'm going to create a background light just to make it a little bit more interesting. Thank you all that are still sticking around, because now we're just going to get a little bit creative and fun. Let's do some MC.
Yeah, so we're basically, we started with the one light. We've added this in for some fill, this reflector. Now we're building out additional lights to give the background a little bit of character. And then we're gonna even throw a hairline in. So this will ultimately be a 4-light set when you consider the reflector, with 3 different kinds of lights. All the lights are actually little aperture lights in different shapes and sizes and outputs. Maybe, do we wanna try the pink?
Yeah, let's do pink.
We're gonna go for pink. Yeah.
Can we see the video, the live video to see the setup, please?
Can you screen share?
Oh, yes.
There we go. Oh, that's fuchsia. I like it. Okay. Does that help, guys? Sorry. 2-person show here. So as we were saying, we have, this is our main light here. We're adding and filling in with this reflector. We have another light off in the corner there. That's focused on the background with little mini barn doors. That's also an aperture light. And now we've got the MC, which to you looks like just a bright white light. But it's actually pink.
You'll see.
You'll see.
You'll all see.
We're gonna take a photo and we're gonna see what happens.
All
so
right.
I'm gonna do one without the reflector just to see.
Okay.
We'll do one without and
Let's
one
just
with.
bring this right.
Okay.
All right, and 3, 2, 1. All right, so let's screen share one more again.
So we're going to screen share and you guys will see a slightly different one. So you can see the hair is lit up with this light over here to my right, and it's a little bit pink. You can see the background looks a little bit more dramatic.
Let's do one more since this was automatic white balance.
Okay, so we're
So-
going to shift a couple of settings on the camera, including the white balance.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
So I might not look as smirkly.
There we go. That's better. So when we add the reflector from the bottom now, we're definitely going to fill in those shadows. So when we have what is essentially butterfly lighting coming from a strong angle at the top and then filling in from the bottom, that would be considered a clamshell beauty light.
And this is most often used, I use this for headshots. I do this for beauty portraits as well. Just having some flexibility and options. I'm gonna do one without my glasses because sometimes the glasses also add a little bit of shadow. So let's do one more.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Let's do one looking up into the light.
I don't think I hit the reflector on that one very well.
Yeah, let me do it.
Well, yeah, you give me the angle and then I'll hold it.
Boom. All right, 3, 2, 1.
So my skin's a mess right now, but
No, it looks great.
there's a little bit of fill.
A little bit of
You
fill.
don't have to go crazy with the fill. It's what's nice about it is sometimes the shadows under the chin or under the eyes can just be a little bit too dramatic. So with the reflector option, it just gives you the opportunity to kind of fill it in a little bit.
So if I stand out of the way here, you can see with the main camera here, no reflector, shadows. And the closer you bring it to your face without it being in the shot, the brighter the reflectance is going to be filling in the shadows.
Because it's also getting closer to this light and picking up more of that light.
Boom.
All right, so that's what we have. Any last minute questions? I know we ran a little bit over, but hopefully you enjoyed it. So we'll take a couple of questions and then we'll wrap it up.
Otherwise, you're free to leave. Thank you for joining us. So
Okay.
just in recollection, we did split lighting, Rembrandt, which is Rembrandt/loop, and we did butterfly lighting and clamshell in addition to that butterfly lighting.
So it looks like we have some questions here. Some of the pics look a little grainy. Well,
Part of that is the stream,
part of that
part of it is ISO 800.
Yeah. So this is a slightly older Fuji camera. The newest, like the X100V, the ISO range on that camera is ridiculously awesome. But again, because we were using continuous light and some of those lights had really low output, we pushed the ISO up to 800. The final images will look a little less grainy. Like you said, part of that is the screen and the TV and stuff. So just a couple of quick notes before we wrap up. Like I said, the store is open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 for curbside pickup. Web orders 24/7, and look for an email hopefully later today with a gear list. It's just going to be a link to a PDF with a gear list and promo codes to get discounts on Phottix and the Savage Lightwand, which we didn't even get to. Where's the Lightwand? If you're interested in other portable light sources, the Lightwand is also another great option. And
It's like an RGB Icelight, really.
yes, it is.
And it has a removable battery that you can, like this one is the NP Sony style batteries, so you can get them for cheap and you can get really big ones if you need to.
So there are some promo codes available. They're only good for a week. So if there are products that we use today that those promo codes are available on, be sure to take advantage of those offers.
Such as Phottix.
Such as Phottix. And it does double as a lightsaber. It could. We can even make the noises, but we're not going to, go with it. You'll be responsible for making your own noises. And then there's also the other offer is Icelight. So you can get a set of barn doors if you buy an Icelight. Can we wait till the end to break stuff?
That's fine. It's just a tether cable.
Anyhow, thank you again. Go to our website for more upcoming events, and have a great rest of your week. Thanks so much.